Pay very close attention to me, because this can change how you handle your life. The truth nobody tells you is that most of your stress, your anxiety, your guilt doesn't come from what you do, but from what you fail to start. Procrastination is a silent betrayal. It seems harmless. It seems like just a simple, "I'll do it later," but it plants seeds of chaos inside your mind. It's what transforms small tasks into invisible monsters. And the worst part? You know you could solve it. It's 100% within your reach, but something locks up, something holds you back, and it eats you from the inside. But listen to me now. If you want to end procrastination once and for all, you need to understand this. When you delay decisions, postpone difficult conversations, put off simple actions, you're directly interfering with your dopamine levels, the primary neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation. Your brain is biologically wired to seek immediate relief. It doesn't want to solve the problem. It wants to escape pain, wants comfort, wants quick pleasure. And the name for this is the reward system. This is why you prefer to scroll your phone, eat something tasty, watch a short reel, even though you know it's pulling you away from the life you truly desire. But now hear me out. You can turn this game around. You can train your brain. Because procrastination is not laziness. It's an imbalance between what you truly desire and what your body has learned to prioritize. It's the gap between your present self and your future self. And as long as you keep living like an addict to instant dopamine, you will never become a results machine. You will be a slave to the now, a hostage to comfort, someone who knows what needs to be done but lives in self-sabotage. But you are not here to continue like this. You are here because you want to be unstoppable. You want to break this cycle. And the first step is hitting subscribe, because here we translate what's written in the greatest books and works ever created. The second step is understanding that procrastination is not the problem, it's just the symptom. The real problem is what you feel before you begin. It's the fear of failure, the doubt if it will work out, the desire to make everything perfect. And sometimes it's just the mental exhaustion of an overloaded mind without direction. That's why in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the path to take back control for good, to activate dopamine in a healthy way, to make focus more pleasurable than distraction, and for you to finally do what needs to be done with lightness, clarity, and power. Pay extreme attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this could be the greatest mental unlock of your life. The reason you procrastinate is not a lack of character. It's not weakness. It's not because you're lazy. It's because you are human. Your body was designed to conserve energy, and your brain was programmed to avoid pain and seek immediate pleasure. This isn't philosophy, it's biology, and the name behind it is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a powerful chemical that acts as a signal of motivation inside your brain. It is released every time you approach something that promises pleasure, reward, or relief. And it is dopamine that defines, almost without you noticing, what you focus on, what you postpone, and what you insist on avoiding. Your brain rewards you for taking the easier path. That's why in the short term, procrastinating feels like a win, but guilt follows right after. Then comes frustration, the feeling that you're falling behind, and then more negative dopamine kicks in and the cycle repeats. This is called the brain's reward circuitry. Picture it like an invisible scale.
On one side, what requires effort. Studying, training, creating, focusing, finishing an important task. On the other side, what gives you quick pleasure? Social media, junk food, useless distractions, pornography, binge-watching short videos. Your brain weighs the two and will always choose what releases dopamine the easiest and fastest. The problem? Easy pleasure demands a high price, and delayed effort becomes accumulated pain. And the more you reinforce this habit, the more your brain gets addicted to low-quality dopamine. You train yourself to avoid what is important, to flee from what makes you grow. It's as if you're building a tolerance to effort. But here is the secret. The same brain that procrastinates is the brain that can be reprogrammed. You don't need to fight dopamine. You only need to learn to use it to your advantage, because it is also activated when you make progress, when you complete things, when you create real momentum. Imagine this. What if you started feeling pleasure in keeping your promises? What if your focus became a source of dopamine? What if finishing a hard task generated more mental reward than getting distracted? This is possible, but it requires technique. It requires self-awareness, and most of all, it requires that you stop negotiating with your lazy mind and start leading your mind like a general leads an army. Get ready, because in the next few minutes, I will show you how to do this, how to outsmart your reward system, how to bypass the invisible saboteurs and transform what was once difficult into something inevitable. If you want to become unstoppable, stay with me. You are about to learn how to break the chain of procrastination in a scientific, simple, and definitive way. There's a quote from Napoleon Hill that sounds like a direct warning to anyone stuck in the procrastination cycle. Procrastination is the silent killer of opportunity. And he was right. Because while you think, hesitate, delay, time keeps passing and the world does not wait. The doors you should have walked through have already closed, and worse, they've opened for someone with less talent than you, but with more action. And that's what eats you up inside, knowing you have potential but living parked in neutral. But now listen to me with your full attention. Procrastination is a pattern, and patterns are maintained by mental triggers. Every time you see a task and feel discomfort, even minimal, your brain creates an escape route. It might be grabbing your phone, getting up from your chair, opening the fridge, or simply staring into space. This is not random, it is learned behavior, and your reward system reinforces it. You avoid discomfort and are rewarded with dopamine. Only this dopamine is empty. It's like candy that only feeds you for 5 seconds and then makes you sick. The key is here. Your brain doesn't want to work, it just wants to feel like it's working. That's why you plan, make lists, organize, watch videos about productivity, but don't start. That gives you the sensation of progress, but it's not real progress. That is procrastination disguised as preparation. And the more you fool yourself, the more your brain gets addicted to it. You are building a fortress of excuses with bricks of good intentions, but nothing changes, nothing happens, because overthinking paralyzes and underacting delays. Want to know what Napoleon Hill did to break this pattern? He applied the principle of definite chief aim coupled with instant action. Whenever he identified something important, he acted within the first 5 seconds without allowing doubt to enter, because he knew the moment to act is when the impulse is still alive. After that, it dies, and with it dies your chance to change the game.
So take a deep breath right now and repeat to yourself, I am not my impulses. I am not my lethargy. I am what I decide to do. This is the first reprogramming. From here, we will build together a practical, step-by-step system to train your mind to desire effort. Yes, desire effort, because only intentional effort builds the extraordinary life you know you deserve. If you are ready for this, continue with me. Let's flip this switch for good. Now is the turning point, and I want you to remember this phrase. Action generates dopamine, but dopamine can also generate action if you know how to use it right. Most people think they need to feel motivated to start, but science shows the opposite. The brain releases real dopamine when you begin, not before. Waiting to feel ready is the biggest mistake. The start is uncomfortable. It always will be. But if you push through the first 3 to 5 minutes of resistance, your brain flips the signal. What was pain becomes reward. What was a weight starts to flow. And this is where everything transforms. The first step is this: create the habit of entry. That is, condition your mind to start, even if only for a few minutes. Take a task you've been putting off, no matter the size, and commit to just 5 minutes of uninterrupted action. This triggers the Zeigarnik effect, a mental phenomenon where the brain tends to want to complete what has already been begun. It's as if an internal energy starts pulling you to finish. It's the momentum of progress kicking in. But here's the secret. Before those 5 minutes, you must break the distraction cycle. This means no phone nearby, no browser tabs open, no visible notifications. The more distractions you allow, the more you sabotage your own focus system. Dopamine cannot compete with easy, immediate stimuli. You need to clear the environment and tell your brain this is a place of action, not escape. Now stop and imagine with me what would change in your life if you did this every day. If instead of waiting for inspiration, you created traction. If instead of fleeing the task, you made it part of your strength ritual. This is where the second point comes in: intentional reward. After finishing each real block of focus, you must reward yourself in a controlled way. It can be a conscious break, a song, internal praise, a coffee, whatever, but it needs to be registered by your brain as a reward for action. This teaches the dopamine system to associate pleasure with effort. You start to enjoy completing, to crave focus, to get addicted to progress. And then comes the magic. Your brain stops holding you back and starts propelling you forward. What was resistance becomes automatic motivation. You are no longer fighting your mind, you are leading it. Pay very close attention to me now, because this might be what's blocking you without you realizing it. The way you talk to yourself defines the way you act. Words are not just sounds, they are codes that program your brain. And procrastination feeds on weak language, on doubt, on subtle hesitation. Every time you say, "I have to do this," your brain hears obligation, pressure, discomfort, and since the reward system wants to avoid pain, it responds with resistance. But when you switch to "I choose to do this," or even better, "I am the type of person who does this," you reposition your identity, and that changes everything. Napoleon Hill said, "You become what you think about, but before you think, you speak. You listen to yourself, and your mind believes what you repeat."
If every day you say you're tired, that you can't focus, that you can't do it, guess what? Your brain accepts that order as truth. It shapes your internal chemistry to make that a reality. But if you change the language, you change the biology, and then you change the behavior. Procrastination is a war that starts in internal language. The secret is to use phrases that activate identity, not obligation. Stop saying, "I need to do this." Say, "I will do this because I am becoming unstoppable." By repeating this with clarity, your brain starts to adjust your dopamine to match the new belief. This is neuroplasticity in action. You are literally reprogramming the neural pathways of action. And there's more. Language must be accompanied by body posture. Yes, your physiology influences your mind. Don't try to focus slumped over, lying down, or with your body in a state of lethargy. Stand up, breathe deeply, open your chest, and say with firmness, "I act, I focus, I conquer." This isn't cheap self-help, it's a neural command. Your body sends signals to your brain all the time, and the brain responds with chemistry, impulse, and behavior. Now imagine the impact of this on your days. Instead of hiding from the task, you face it. Instead of negotiating, you decide. Instead of fleeing, you lead. This is the key. Don't wait for desire, create command. In the next few minutes, we'll enter another fundamental element: clear future vision. Because you only move with force when you know exactly where you're going. Focus without vision is suffering, but with vision, it's direction, it's purpose, it's power. Now has come the moment to show you how to outsmart your body, because yes, it will try to sabotage you. Your body wants comfort, wants bed, wants distraction, wants everything except effort. And if you don't know how to play with it, you'll lose every day.
But if you know how to use the right shortcuts, you win, because the human brain is hackable, and you can learn to use its own mechanisms against procrastination itself. Here are 5 powerful hacks that will transform your productivity. 1. The 5-second rule. You thought about doing something? Don't wait. Act within 5 seconds. Get up, start, take the first step. If you exceed this time, the rational brain kicks in and sabotages with doubts, laziness, and excuses. Act before you think. This activates the action brain, the prefrontal cortex, and silences the escape brain. 2. Visualize future discomfort. Instead of imagining how hard it is to start, imagine how you'll feel if you don't do it. Imagine the guilt, the mental weight, the delay, the frustration. Your brain flees from pain, so use that to your advantage. Create anticipated pain for undone actions, and you'll act just to avoid it. 3. Break everything into 10-minute blocks. Your brain hates long tasks, but loves small wins. Break everything into short blocks. Focus for 10 minutes, then another 10. After 3 blocks, you'll be in a state of flow, and then what was impossible becomes natural. The important thing is to start small, but with intention. 4. Fixed entry routine. Every machine needs an on button. Create a fixed start routine. It could be drinking a coffee, wearing specific clothes, listening to a certain song. Teach your brain, when this happens, I go into action. This forms an automatic trigger and conditions your body to obey. 5. Environments without choice. Don't rely on willpower. It's weak. Rely on structure. Create environments where there is only one option, to do the work. Example, no phone nearby, no bed in sight, no distractions in your field of vision.
If you leave temptations visible, you've already lost half the battle. These hacks work because they trick the reward system, redirect dopamine, and cut the automatic escape cycle. You don't need to be more disciplined. You need to be more strategic, more conscious. You need to decide who's in charge here, you or your body. Being stronger than your body isn't about fighting it all the time. It's about training, programming, automating, being like a firm general who guides rebellious soldiers with clarity. Your body is the army, but your mind is the commander. Do you want to stop procrastinating for real? Then stop looking only at the now. People who live trapped in the immediate present become slaves to procrastination. But people who see the future with clarity act with urgency. Because those who see far walk fast. Those who have direction have strength, and those who have a strong why overcome any how. Now stop everything and imagine who you are 1 year from now if you stop procrastinating today. What is your mind like, your body, your projects, your bank account, your routine? Visualize in detail. See it with the eyes of rational faith, because your brain needs a strong image to work with focus. And if you don't give it a vision, it will keep operating in survival mode, reacting to the day, to boredom, to whims, to distractions. This is pure neuroscience. The brain operates on anticipation. It decides what to do based on what it believes you want to become. This is the system of self-reference. When you don't have an ideal self constructed, you become anything, and procrastination wins because nothing seems urgent. But when you create an emotionally powerful image of who you want to be, with details, with energy, with engagement, your dopamine system starts to align with that goal. Your focus improves, your decisions change, your inner strength increases. That's why here is a simple but transformative practice. Every morning, visualize for 2 minutes your perfect life 1 year from now, the direct result of having defeated procrastination. Don't think of 1,000 things, think of 3. How you feel, what you do, and who you have become. Burn this into your mind, and during the day, repeat the question, does this choice bring me closer to or further from that version? This simple question will destroy the impulse to postpone what matters. Napoleon Hill said, "A burning desire is the starting point of all achievement. But that desire needs a face, a name, a date, and emotion, or it evaporates. To procrastinate is to forget who you could be, and the price of that is too high. You are here to become unstoppable, and you only will be if you know clearly who you want to be. When that is engraved in your soul, procrastination will have no more space because you will feel you have a mission, and those who have a mission are in a hurry. Now pay very close attention because what I'm about to tell you could free you from a cycle of self-sabotage that has been destroying your productivity. Your brain is driven by reward. It acts because of the promise of pleasure. But here is the secret. If you don't learn to reward your body after each effort, it will start to reject effort. It will associate work with punishment and will make you procrastinate more and more. This isn't a lack of discipline, it's a lack of mental structure. Your dopamine system needs to understand that focus is worth it, that completing hard tasks results in relief, recognition, pleasure. And believe me, this can be as simple as getting up from your chair and taking a deep breath, having a coffee with gratitude, walking for a minute listening to your favorite song, or just telling yourself you were strong.
But if you finish a task and immediately jump to the next without giving a signal of reward, the brain gives up on helping you. It thinks, why do it again if it only hurts and nothing good ever comes after? You are not a cold machine. You are a being with chemistry, emotion, and memory, and your body needs to be valued. It needs to understand that effort is not torture. It is conquest. It is the path, and every well-trodden path deserves honor. But here comes another, even more important truth. You will fail. You will error. You will break your routine. You will procrastinate again. And that's okay. That is not what defines your failure. What defeats you is not the mistake. It is the surrender. It's when you err and transform that into identity. That's just how I am. No, you are not your worst version. You are your consistency, not your fall. Strong people aren't those who never fail. They are those who fail and return. Those who lose focus for a day and resume the next. Those who treat themselves with firmness, but also with compassion. Who understand that error is part of progress, but that every error must teach, not paralyze. That's why whenever you fall, don't say, I failed. Say, I learned, and now I continue. Because as long as you continue, you are still winning. You are still in the game, and this game only ends when you decide to stop. So, decide not to stop. You are building a new brain, a new behavior, a new cycle, and the name for that is transformation. Procrastination loses its power when you understand that effort is not the villain, but rather the bridge to your freedom. Now, understand this once and for all. To procrastinate is natural, but to continue procrastinating is a choice. Your brain is addicted to easy pleasure, but you can reprogram it to desire effort. So, start reprogramming. Comment below, I defeated procrastination. Send this message to the deepest part of your mind as a decree that today it all ends, that from today you will chase your goals like someone who has never chased them before. But understand me, dopamine is not your enemy. It is your ally when properly directed. Your body needs to be rewarded to act with consistency. And you will error, yes, but the difference between those who win and those who quit is that winners error and keep going, even when everything screams to stop. Now is the moment to build something lasting, and that is called ritual. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something every day. Even little, even without desire, even tired. And when you do it, celebrate. Give your brain the response, this is worth it. Reward the progress. Treat yourself as someone under construction who deserves respect. Create a fixed time to act. Use the 5-second rule. Visualize your future. Speak to yourself with firmness. Remove distractions from your environment. Transform 10 minutes into movement. And when you fail, resume the same day. Not next month, not next Monday. Resume now, because the time is now. The future is now. Life is now. You wanted a method. You received an awakening. And now the question is,
What will you do with it? If you decide to apply it, I promise you will become someone who scares procrastination. Because while the world delays, you act. While others get distracted, you build. While everyone waits for motivation, you have already begun. And that makes you unstoppable. So, stand up, take a deep breath, and say with firmness, I am in control now. I am the type of person who does, and the world will have to adapt to my rhythm. And remember, everything begins with a decision, and that decision is yours. If you found value in this, leave a like, subscribe for more content that transforms, hit the bell, and comment what you thought. It's very important to us. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I'm happy to know you are willing to change. Stay well. I wish you much focus and wisdom.